Recording really early today, so it's a little dark, but you just need the sound. So it's about metabolic health, metabolism. So all of the chronic diseases that we have as epidemics in human society now are mostly metabolic diseases. So what is metabolism? Metabolism is the conversion of whatever fuel you're consuming into energy. So if you've got, so there's primarily two kinds of fuel. There's fat and there's glucose. So all the carbohydrates that you consume, if you need to use, it needs to be consumed into it needs to be converted into glucose and then used up as energy. Now, in order to improve metabolic health, you need to work on your mitochondria. So, mitochondria, you must remember from your biology classes, is the powerhouse of the cell. So, mitochondria works on oxygen and the fuel that you give it to produce energy, which is ATP, and that ATP is then used to run the functions of the cell. Now, any cell that cannot produce enough energy for itself is going to get diseased, and at some point it's going to die. It's going to die earlier than it is meant to die. So, what you need is to improve the health of your mitochondria, and the best way to do that is exercise. Of course, you need to avoid toxins and chronic stress and all of that. But the easiest way to improve the health of your mitochondria is to exercise. And what has proven to be the best kind of exercise for mitochondrial health is zone 2 training. So, zone 2 training is predominantly aerobic, it's almost entirely aerobic, which means all of the fuel that's burnt in the mitochondria is coming from is being burnt with oxygen that's coming from the blood. So this usually means that you are going to be exercising at an easy pace. So if you exercise at an easy pace where you're not um, panting, if you're breathing through your nose, you're most probably going to be in zone 2 training. So this is usually around less than 70% of your maximum heart rate, and there are different ways to calculate your maximum heart rate, and that's not really important because if you want to get really detailed about it, you can use a activity tracker, you can use a watch, you can use a heart rate monitor to keep your heart rate at 70%, less than 70% of your maximum. But it's much easier if you just breathe through your nose. Make sure that you breathe only through your nose, and that you can talk while you're while you're exercising, or you can hum a song, or you can. So you get the idea. You shouldn't be panting, and this sort of exercise should be done frequently. So low intensity exercise is the best way to train zone 2, and zone 2 is the best way to train your mitochondria. And the healthier your mitochondria, the more efficient they are, the more number you've got, the healthier and better your life will be. So the recommendation for zone 2 is around 40 minutes thrice a week. So around 150 to 180 minutes of zone 2 training uh, in a week. Now that can be split up and spread out through the week, but you get the best results if you spend around 40 minutes in each session. So you might need 3 to 4 sessions of 40 minutes to get to that target, the optimum range of zone 2 training. And there are different ways to get there. All you need to do is get your heart rate to that level, and you can use any sort of exercise that you want. Whatever you enjoy is fine. And most people tend to use running or cycling or walking, but that doesn't mean you can't do it with weights. You just need to use weights that are not heavily taxing you. So you can do zone 2 training with weights if you want, and for that you can use clubs or kettlebells, and you just need to time your rest intervals right. So if somebody's pushed for time, and you don't have time to do separate cardio and separate strength training, you can use your weights to do both the cardio and the strength training at the same time. And for that, clubs and kettlebells are pretty good. So all you need to do is have a 40-minute session and make sure that your heart rate stays around uh, 70% of your max, which is usually 130, less than 130, between 100 and 130 for most people our age. So you start exercising with a club or a kettlebell, and once your heart rate starts to climb, once you start noticing that you have to start breathing through your mouth, it means it's time to take a break and walk around while your heart rate recovers and your breathing recovers. And as soon as it gets down to around 100, you do your next set and you repeat that till you get to 40 minutes. And in that way, you get both your strength and your cardio training in one session. And I think that's a very efficient way of using your time. So, yeah, thanks. If you've got questions, put them in the comments, and I'd like to speak more about it in follow up videos if there is an interest. Thanks.